I'm going to bring up Amazon's open hiring site. This is not a PowerPoint by me. It starts off first and foremost with customer obsession. Leaders that start with the customer and work backwards. They work vigorously to earn and keep the customer trust. Although leaders pay attention to competitors, they obsess over customers. The question I always had about this leadership principle from Jeff is, who is your customer? Is your customer the user of Alexa and Ring that is trusting their private data to you? Is it the customer that's shopping online and trusts their shopping history with you? Is it the customer that orders music online and has Alexa music playing, that you know it's music histories? Or is it the defense industry, the NSA, the CIA, the organizations that monitor and undermine our civil rights? Decide who the customer is, Jeff. You know, you can't have two masters. You need to decide if you're going to serve the side of the NSA and the CIA and organizations of that nature, or you're going to protect the data of consumers. So this whole customer obsession, without defining who the customer is really pointless. The reason I bring this up as a point is, if you remember, Jeff Bezos has had his own phone hacked by the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia after getting a WhatsApp text, which resulted in him getting a divorce. Now, Jeff, you associate with the MBSs of the world. Tomorrow is Khashoggi's 2 years anniversary of death. But the people in your phone book are the MBSs. These are the people you respond back to. So it tells a lot about the character of the man. Second, Jeff, why would a person like you, who's already been hacked, who already had his privacy violated, put on its board a former NSA chief, Keith Alexander, who lied about mass surveillance and now joins the Amazon board? Why would you have somebody of this character on the board of a company that's supposed to be trusted with our data? Decide who your master is, Jeff. Are you beholden to the federal government with your Jedi contracts and your NSA contracts and your CIA $900 million contracts? Or is it the average user and the consumer that you supposedly protect and care so much about? Your loyalties are misguided. Let's talk about, this is a lot of stuff you guys can read on your own. Amazon says that they insist on the highest standards. Again, the question that I have is, what are these standards? Leaders have relentlessly high standards. Well, what are the standards? Is it the Chinese manufacturers that bring in goods into this country that are not repairable, that have to be disposed of, that are cheaply made? Is it the NSA that wants data on its US users as well as globally? So whose the standards are you following, Jeff? Whose the standards does Amazon care about? Define those standards. Let the organization know what that is and live by them. Finally, frugality. And I got a few things to say about this. I got a lot of stories to say about frugality. You know, Amazon is an organization that celebrates its holiday party in February. And that's not because we're celebrating Martin Luther King's Day or Valentine's Day, because that is because the company is so frugal that they'd rather get cheap facilities to be able to accommodate a Christmas party in February. Amazon frugality goes beyond that. It's paying poorly to the workers. What is $17 an hour for a man that just made $70 billion? I mean, a fraction of what you make, Jeff, could impact the lives of so many people. You could directly impact the lives of hundreds, thousands of workers and employees by increasing that money, but you won't, just because you're cheap and too greedy. And that goes for the rest of the organization. You know, I don't care you don't want to compensate me for the work I do at Amazon, but at least compensate your current employees fairly and give them something that they can live with during these difficult times. You know, the pandemic affected a lot of families, and a lot more than just one person depends on that paycheck. So why not, for once in your life, be known for generosity instead of being cheap? You know, that's what I would like to say to Jeff Bezos. What else can I share with you? You can read about some of these other leadership principles, and I'll be happy to comment on each, but we don't have that much time. I want to talk about the one that they talk about: have backbone, disagree, and commit. Leaders are obligated to respectfully challenge decision when they disagree, even if doing so is uncomfortable or exhausting. Okay, leaders have conviction and are tenacious. They do not compromise for the sake of social cohesion. Once the decision is determined, they commit wholly. Well, tell me about your backbone. I bet Amazon and Jeff don't have a backbone. They're like a slug. Slugs don't have backbone. I know what it takes to have a backbone, and that means to stand up for something. Nothing that Jeff does, except for the mighty dollar, is that what he stands for. You know, at the end of the day, all the oligarchs and all the money they keep printing for themselves is to their benefits. It's for the mighty dollar. That is their value system. What happens if we decide as humanity that we want to move away from this standard, that we're tired of the banks getting all the money they want from our politicians, that we're tired of our politicians supplying our corporations with endless cash while they leave the rest of us dry? You know, Amazon and Jeff Bezos are like river otters. They build a dam, but they build it with concrete and sewage and everything else, and they leave nothing for the people down the street. That's what I wanted to say about Amazon and its leadership principles briefly. There is more that I can talk about, but we have a very short time during this presentation.